Now, I bet you are homeschooling for connection, but how do we make that happen in the day to day of our homeschool? Especially on those days when there are math tears and late starts and not enough coffee. Are those connections doomed to failure? Not at all. Hello and welcome to the Simply Convivial podcast. I'm Mystie Winckler, homemaker, homeschool mom of 5 with 3 graduates and 2 grandchildren. So why convivial? Well, convivial means enjoying life together, and that's the hospitable atmosphere that we want to create in our homes. With my blog, podcast, community, and books, my goal is to equip as many women as possible to become engaged, competent, cheerful Christian homemakers and homeschoolers. This month in August, I'm going to focus on homeschooling episodes to give you the encouragement and motivation to dig into your new school year with conviction and purpose and energy. So, grab a basket of laundry to fold and let's dig in. So we want connection in our homeschools, right? That's one reason why we homeschool is to have a more connected relational life with our children and a more connected personal education. So think about connection and electricity. It is when live wires connect that electricity flows, or when roots connect to moist soil, nutrients are sent up so the plant can grow. When magnets connect, they can hold up an astonishing amount of weight. So, what happens when ideas connect in the mind? That is learning. Making connections is learning. Education is about understanding relations, the connectedness of things, seeing the connection of knowledge, of God to his world, of history to us, of numbers to physics or chemistry, and then being able to do something with that perception. That's what we're about, not passing tests or preparing for possible future jobs. As Charlotte Mason wrote, quote, "Every child is heir to an enormous patrimony. The question is, what are the formalities necessary to put him in possession of that which is his?" She continues, "We do not talk about educating him with a view to his social standing or his future calling. We take the child as we find him, a person with many healthy affinities and embryonic attachments, and we try to give him a chance to make the largest possible number of these attachments valid." The connection we begin with and prioritize is relational. Without personal care and security, further connections are hindered. But the care that we give those connections and our children should give them a starting point from which they themselves branch out into caring about many orders of things beyond themselves. Charlotte Mason also said, "The question is not how much does the youth know when he has finished his education, but how much does he care? And about how many orders of things does he care? In fact, how large is the room in which he finds his feet set, and therefore how full is the life that he has before him?" It's not so much about knowing 2 plus 2 or 2 times 2 or 2 squared as it is knowing about and caring about truth. We should help our children connect their desire to know, their care about something other than themselves and so much larger than themselves. We give them something bigger and grander to care about, orders of magnitudes of things to care about, to expand their world and their mind, the room in which they find themselves. That comes by caring. Our caring of our children includes giving them the inheritance of the human race, the rooms of knowledge of history, science, numbers, and literature. Caring about God and others brings about interest in God's world and the people throughout time and culture, including the people that you meet every day. It's all about connection. Wisdom requires us to connect the dots. Wisdom is being able to connect related fields or seemingly random bits of information with other fields of knowledge as well as with life applications. Without the building blocks of knowledge, a house of wisdom cannot be built. And above all, Proverbs tells us, get wisdom. It is care and connection that turns random facts into understanding and the scattered mess of blocks into a tower. We can form connections with our children over the books, the equations, the compositions, or we can sever those connections over the same. Having connection isn't inevitable. It takes work, it takes effort. We build our house or we tear it down with our own hands. And if we find we've been tearing it down over the work to be done, then we need to pause and repair. But the goal in repairing is always for the purpose of returning to the flow again, of building the house up, not just keeping things status quo. So let's think about people, especially since our homeschools are made up of people. What happens when people connect? That's community. And we need community. We were not created to live alone or to be isolated. Our families are to be little communities, groups of connected people where love and kindness flows and abounds. And then our churches are to be our extended family, our extended body, without whom we don't function fully. Our friends, whether they attend our church or another one, whether they live on our street or across the globe, connect us to a bigger whole, and they build us up, energizing us beyond what we can muster up with our own resources. So do not underestimate the value of finding connection outside your family. It's healthy, it's vitalizing. It can be draining and it can be messy and time consuming, but people are worth it. Our people, especially, are worth it. Our little community right inside the four walls of our home is our first and primary connection. The sparks grow larger and stronger when they're connected to others as well, but if there's a disconnect at home, the learning and growth can stall out instead of building everyone up. When the days break bad, and they will, the priority for getting things straightened out is not the kitchen or the closets or the coffee supply. It's the people and our connections together. Get out and do something together. Have separate quiet times to recharge and then come back together to read aloud or take a walk or play a game or go to the park. When we can't make or aren't making those connections together, maybe it's time for reinforcements. The broader community of faith and learning can help us, not by replacing us, but by increasing the number of bonds available, the number of connection points. We can put an appointment on the calendar with friends for a nature walk, and the accountability makes it happen. We can join a co-op or just gather with another family for particular lessons so that connections broaden and actually happen. Now, the connections will be threatened. Sometimes the child will pull out a pocket knife and try to hold off a connection with a particular branch of knowledge that we're offering. Sometimes the connection is threatened because we never offer that branch in the first place, although it is our responsibility to do so. Sometimes the connection that is threatened is the very trunk, our parent-child relationship. Sin is the largest threat to our parent-child relationship. Love covers a multitude of sins, and it's our responsibility to extend that sort of love to our children when they sin. Not if. They will sin. Love doesn't excuse or coddle sin, but it also doesn't hold the sin against the sinner after forgiveness is extended. Love keeps no record of wrongs, and love does not allow the loved one to live in sin or to own sin as part of their identity either. Anger, sloth, grumbling, and power grabbing included. But these are just specks in our children's eyes, and we must first take care of our own planks. What of our own anger, sloth, grumbling, or power grabbing? With our own lives and choices, are we declaring that these are acceptable vices? Who will hold us accountable to repenting of our own sin? The Holy Spirit himself always does so. So when we turn our own pet sins over to him, he offers us in exchange love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. If we want those things, we must ask for them and receive them from the Holy Spirit. We won't find them in our own hearts by default, ever. We won't find them by trying harder. Walking in the Spirit is laying down our own inclinations and following him instead. Sometimes at first, the fruit that he offers looks bitter, but the effect is always sweet. Connection is important. Connection is important in every area of our lives. In order to learn and gain wisdom, we have to make connections. We can build connections or we can destroy them. What can we do to avoid destroying connections? We have to be connected to the vine. Jesus said, "He who abides in me bears much fruit." We connect ourselves to Jesus, and our children taste the fruit. We show them how it's done, and they connect not only to us, but also to Jesus through the Holy Spirit themselves. They don't need us to be their Holy Spirit. That is us attempting to be God. Rather, we live by the Holy Spirit and say with Paul, "Be imitators of me as I am of Christ." Connection brings true freedom. Imagine that we are each individual atoms, occasionally bouncing into each other, but with the potential to bond and form a stronger, more interesting molecule. When our kids demand freedom, or when we do, we too often think of freedom as the ability to do our own independent thing without responsibilities or cares or those connections. But that's the freedom of a free radical. It's unattached, unhindered, doing its own thing off by itself. But the life of a free radical is destructive, unstable, and reactive. Free radicals are born when bonds break. Now, maybe I'm taking this metaphor too far, but we can be the antioxidant in our homes, binding those free radicals not with chains and imprisonment, but by binding them to ourselves and creating new, stable, coherent molecules with them. We offer our electrons, we take theirs, we share a common orbit, and stabilize not only the free radical, but also ourselves. When a child loses it, becomes a free radical, the danger of a chain reaction is real. It's easy to lose our equilibrium in turn, and suddenly the chemical reaction occurring is volatile. Or we can breathe deep and know that if we stay calm and hold on, not letting go of either the standard or the love of our child, the situation will equalize, and we will be the antioxidant hugging that free radical close so that he causes no more damage, but rather bonds properly. When we become a source of stability for our children, they can be free. Our stability is tested by their tantrums and their arguments, But if we pass the test, they have security. We must not give in either to their immature demands or to our own temptations to join their fray. We're wrong if we think that being free means being able to do whatever we want. And our children are wrong when they behave as if self-determination is freedom. True freedom is having the ability to act in accordance to our design. What did God make us for? He designed us to have fellowship with Him, to cultivate and tend the world, to love and serve one another. The more we choose selfish freedom, the farther away we spin from that good and perfect design, the less we're able to cling to it. But grabbing hold of it, choosing to obey and reject our own selfish desires, we find ourselves bonded and in the flow more and more. The connection starts with us. It is grounded in and built on our union with Christ, our font of love, and then it flows to our relational connection with each child. And that bond enables stable connections, the continued flow of care, of love, with truth, goodness, and beauty, both for them and for us. On Friday, August 22nd, I'm doing a free homeschool workshop called Routines Refresh. We will walk through a process of making sure that those routines that we have put in place for a new school year foster these connections that our homeschool needs to stay strong, stable, and effective. I would love to have you join me, and I have bonuses and all kinds of special things that go along with this free workshop, your homeschool routine refresh, on Friday, August 22nd. Just go to simplyconvivial.com/refresh, simplyconvivial.com/refresh to register and learn about those bonuses, as well as get the invite link and the replay after it's done. I want to help you go into this school year repenting, rejoicing, and repeating.